What's up everyone, it's Sprometheus, and as you likely noticed from the thumbnail or the title, today we are taking a look at the brand new, highly anticipated addition to the Flair Espresso family. This is the 58. Okay, so now that you're fully into this whole program and you've seen the sexy B-roll footage, let's talk about a couple of these major headlines just to get them out of the way. And the first thing is the reason for its namesake. The 58 means it uses a commercial 58mm portafilter and basket. This of course has some obvious benefits that I'll talk about in a bit. And second, the elephant in the room, and manual purists, please take a deep breath, maybe grab a paper bag if you need to hyperventilate, but the Flair 58 does have an electronic component. This component is here to keep your boiler heated and ready without running through endless amounts of water. But rest assured, those who want to take their Flair 58 to the top of a mountain to pull shots for Instagram clout still can do that. You don't have to have power. Okay, I said it. And if you're feeling especially lucky and want a Flair 58 for yourself, I've teamed up with the folks at Flair to give one away to one lucky coffee lover, so hit the giveaway link in the description for details. Using the Flair 58 feels pretty familiar, but also a little bit different. The overall frame and design is like a larger, more robust version of the original. Of course, there are some new additions that change the overall usability of the machine as a whole. The temperature controller, even though it's one of the more controversial additions to the Flair 58, it's actually one of the most welcome additions in my opinion. It has 3 settings: low, medium, and high heat. Personally, as a firm believer of all things preheating, even though Reddit may disagree, I use the high setting almost exclusively. Hold the power button to turn on, one light is low, the second press is medium, and the third tap is high. Once it's set, the LED light will flash until it's ready to brew, and this takes about 5 minutes on the high setting. But letting it sit in the boiler to soak up a bit more heat a little bit longer only helps the case of temperature stability, as well as leaving the stem and the portafilter locked into the boiler. Also, it should be noted that this feature is intended only to preheat the boiler and not to preheat your brew water, and if you do that,
gonna have a bad time.
From there, the process of pulling shots is like a combination of a Flair and a traditional espresso machine. Obviously, there aren't any differences in preparing your shot, all of the same rules apply in terms of dialing in. Attention should be paid to your grind, careful puck preparation, even distribution, and flat tamping. Once the portafilter is locked in, pour your preheated brew water into the boiler all the way to the top, place the stem in by fitting the teeth between the slots, giving it a slight press and twist to lock in, hook the stem to the lever, and then grip it and rip it. And as you'd expect, if all of these variables align properly, you'll end up with a beautifully extracted shot of espresso. And having tried many coffees from light to dark, from fruity to chocolate, the Flair 58, like its predecessor, does not disappoint in the cup. The one major pro for the Flair 58 is its vastly increased workflow. Having a handled portafilter not only speeds up the dial-in process, but also when it comes to cleaning, being able to knock the puck out and move on to the next shot, but also allows you to make multiple shots in a more reasonable amount of time. Pulling shots back to back with a single portafilter is a breeze now. Of course, it could be more or less time depending on your shot recipe, your grinder speed, or your kettle, but all in all, it's a massive departure from the slog of the original and Flair Pro models. And of course, the temperature controller only adds to the ease and speed of the workflow because it keeps your boiler up to temp as you pull all the shots that your little heart desires. And gone are the days of manually pressing out the brew piston, it's actually attached to the lever, and it allows for a quick reset for your next shot. One of the biggest complaints about the original Flair is its lack of accessories, and some crafty people made their own or 3D printed them, but that issue is a thing of the past when it comes to the 58. Not only will most, if not all, 58mm baskets work, but it also opens up a whole new world of accessories, like that sexy new tamper you've been eyeballing, or those fancy distribution tools you've been for some reason watching over and over again on Instagram Reels. And that's pretty cool. No longer will the ability to spend hundreds of your hard-earned dollars on the latest and greatest coffee tools pass you by. It's also super easy to clean, and it doesn't need it all that often, especially if you use these screens. This buildup is after about 20 shots. To clean it, just turn off the power, disconnect it from the power block, loosen the boiler set bolt if you use it, pop the boiler off the stand, pull the piston out using the stem, and then run some water through both sides of the boiler. Then just give it a quick wipe, and you're all set. One of the other major complaints when it came to the Flair, or other hand-pressed espresso machines for that matter, is ergonomics. The fine folks over at Flair listened to those complaints and created a longer brew arm with a T-grip for better leverage and control of your shot pressure. Honestly, you have to pay much closer attention to your brew gauge because it's just that easy to launch into an 18 bar pull and not even realize it. Of course, like all things in life, it's not all long walks on the beach and pina coladas. There are some things I don't love about the Flair 58. The temperature controller and the power brick come across as kind of cheap. The plastic has a real hollow and flimsy feel to it. But having only had it for about a month, I can't really speak to the reliability of these electronics, so if they actually last a long time, the perceived cheapness of it doesn't really matter a whole lot, at least not to me. The brew group is designed with a smaller diameter shower screen than the portafilter, so shots pulled without an additional paper filter or a screen to assist in evenly dispersing the water over the puck, like the one Flair sells separately, will create some potential for channeling. One thing I would have liked to see in the box is some additional wear and tear items, like the gaskets and seals for the group, as well as the pressure gauge. They are all exposed to quite a bit of sustained heat and pressure, and it's only a matter of time before they need to be replaced. Even after pressing the lever as far down as it will go, the max amount of yield I've been able to get is around 50 to 55 grams, which you'll likely realize is less than the boiler volume of 90 milliliters. And if you return the lever to the top and pull again, you'll find another 20 or so grams of water still in the boiler. Outside of what is soaked up by the puck, you can get a bit more yield by quickly breaking the seal on the portafilter when there is some water in the boiler, and this will fill that little extra bit of headspace with water. But there is a downside to that. That little air pocket provides some protection from getting your puck all muddy while you finish adding the water and placing the stem, but when I did that, I didn't get great shot outcomes, and it wasn't really worth the additional 10 to 15 grams of yield. So if you're looking to make lungo shots, that may be a bit of a stretch, and if you want to make allonges, you're probably out of luck. Lastly, I missed the metal laser cut drain tray from the original Flair Pro units. This one just comes with a rubber bar mat looking thing, but at least the Akai Lunar fits into it. Now I'm sure current Flair Pro owners, both the original and 2, are likely wondering if it's worth shelling out twice the price to upgrade to the 58. Well, the answer to that isn't a clear-cut yes or no. If the only reason you're considering an upgrade to the Flair 58 is because you expect it to make far and away better espresso, I would say that isn't necessarily the case. Of course, it has more thermal stability and can handle much larger doses, but in my opinion, those things don't massively increase the quality versus a properly done Flair Pro shot. But of course, there are some major updates, so if you're looking for a quicker, simpler workflow for multiple shots, less time and water wasted preheating the brew boiler, and just an overall smoother experience, then yes, upgrading would be in your best interest. Now, I'm not sure how the folks at Flair will take this final observation, and I have to say they've been a great supporter of me and the channel for the past couple of years, and I hope they don't take this the wrong way. But I feel like the Flair chassis with the introduction of the 58 has reached its pinnacle, its peak of workflow and shot quality. I don't see how they can continue to improve upon this platform unless they just slowly inch their way into being fully plumbed in and mostly powered and basically being just a full-on espresso machine. But I would love it if they prove me wrong. Anyway, that is my full review on the brand new Flair 58. Let me know if you have any thoughts on this video, the Flair 58, Flair Espresso in general, or just hand-pressed espresso machines. Of course, if you have any questions, drop them in the comment section down below. And as always, I'll see y'all next week. And of course, a big thank you to my April Patreons, Ads, Jacob P, David W, Christopher Squeegee Rowe, Brian, Lisa, Andre, Sean Noel, Spookus, Mika, Samantha, Claire, Bound Coffee, Stephen, James K, Josh Horrison, Corey C, Curry, Jeff Rock, Joey N, Thomas B, UK Espresso, Tim, Jason C, Jerry, Matt, Ninja Warrior Coffee, Home Barista Coach, Counseling Memes, Testing 123, Zachary V, Tyler F, Robert Underdunk, Jeffrey R, BJK Cafe, Chris M, Daniel P, Mike B, Brian M, Brandon B, Tyler M, Sebastian, Matthew C, JRC, Absolute, Stephen G, Alex T, Offensive, Jose Lauren, and Keefe. And of course, a big thank you to the barista and barback tiers. If you want any information on my Patreon, there's a link in the description and in the upper right-hand corner right now. And of course, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Hit that little bell button for notifications of new videos posted every Friday. Follow my Instagram at Sprometheus for content throughout the week, my blog at Sprometheus.com, my coffee at littlegiant.coffee, and as always, stay caffeinated. Pony Boy.